when the racetrack turned into a skating rink. Rain, car sliding, safety cars, and the winner doing a beautiful 360-degree spin are all ingredients for the race I'm about to review. In a time when there were 4 world champions on the grid, the current world champion only had a handful of wins and Mercedes celebrated 125 years in motorsport. Let's return to Germany 2019 and have a laugh at the events that took place at the Hockenheim ring. I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. Roll intro. 2019 isn't that long ago, and my previous funny race review was also from that same year, so I'll leave the introduction of that season for what it is and get straight into the action. If you want to see that video, I've left it up as an end screen in this video, and it's great for the channel if you watch that one too. The event was called FormulaOne Mercedes-Benz Große Preis 2019, and the 2 first rows of the starting lineup were taken by 2 Mercedes drivers and 2 Red Bull drivers. That's quite a luxury for both teams nowadays, especially for a certain Mexican driver who appears in this video too. Hamilton on pole, Verstappen P2, Bottas P3 and Pierre Gasly P4. A great opportunity for Gasly to show his worth and save his seat. The race director at the time, a fairly unknown Australian called Michael Massey or something like that, had decided to do 3 laps on wets first to test how wet the track was in reality. They decided on a standing start, which went very well for the Mercedes drivers and terrible for the Red Bull drivers, who both lost positions. This had everything to do with the Honda engines they just started using, which didn't have the mapping in order yet. An onlooking Christian Horner had an expression on his face exactly like whenever he sees Jos Verstappen in the garage. Sebastian Vettel, who started from P20 due to issues at qualifying, made a great leap forward and gained a bunch of positions. The Mercedes cars, with their beautiful special livery, looked like they were on rails on that wet track. They celebrated Mercedes in motorsport for 125 years, and not only the car had a different look, but also the people in the team were dressed up in special old-fashioned outfits. They were all set to make this one of the greatest races for Mercedes. Sainz had a short visit off the track during the first skirmishes on the first lap. Max Verstappen had a lot of trouble getting grip in his RB15. You could clearly see a wobble here and there. Carlos Sainz slid off the track for a second time. Checo Perez drove for the team they call Aston Martin now. It was called Racing Point then, and he was teammates with Lance Stroll. Perez did what we see him do all the time now. He crashed and he was out. The safety car was called up, and it was a great opportunity for the Mercedes team to have a double stack pit stop, and things went just fine. Nothing could spoil their special day. Then it was Charles Leclerc's turn to shine. He almost lost his car on a piece of track that was used as the dragster racing strip for the Hockenheim circuit, which was fine normally. It had plenty of grip in the dry, but in the wet it was like a skating rink. Leclerc also had a nice spin. In the replay something was seen hanging on his car. I don't know what it was, perhaps it was some drool from Stroll's chin. That one was inspired by RPM. If you know, you know. A little while later we see a yellow car with a massive cloud of smoke coming from the engine. It was Daniel Ricciardo who had left Red Bull at the end of 2018, partly because he didn't trust the Honda engines very much. And Max Verstappen was a handful too. So he left. But he might be coming back, but that's not relevant now. Max attempted to overtake Bottas, but he bailed out to prevent a crash. I just thought I'd point that out to the people that don't like him. Then it was time for Carlos Sainz to do some more rallying off track for the 3rd time. The usually brilliant strategy team at Red Bull had decided it was dry enough for slicks and pitted Verstappen. He didn't get softs for this cold damp track, but a set of mediums. Then there's a yellow flag all of a sudden. Something must have happened. Yes, it was Max Verstappen who did a wonderful 360 on these tires. He thought they were a little on the hard side for these conditions.
Maybe you shouldn't give me the soft tires. Straight for hard.
Then another retirement due to technical issues. Rookie Lando Norris had to park the car because of his Renault engine in his McLaren car gave up. These engines are so good that even Alpine, the team partly owned by Renault, doesn't want to use them anymore. Lewis Hamilton pitted in lap 29 and they fitted him with softs. But this pit stop took 5.6 seconds because the left front refused to come off. Nothing to worry about, these things happen. Just don't let it happen again. Then all of a sudden, Charles Leclerc is in the wall. After a few near crashes, it finally did happen. He lost it and slid into the Mercedes celebration signs on the barrier. He wasn't pleased with himself.
No!
Then Hamilton was off as well, during a safety car. He damaged his wing and crawled into the pits over the grass, missing the bollard he had to pass, so that cost him a 5-second penalty. A quick pit stop would be great for him. Obviously, Hamilton came into the pit unexpectedly and needed a new wing too. And you can't change a wing and tyres at the same time. When they could change the tyres, the crew didn't know what to put on, and they were running into each other. It was something out of a Benny Hill skit. On lap 34, Max Verstappen is leading and Nico Hulkenberg is in P2. A great position to score his first podium. He just needs to keep it together and not fuck up. And then he's in the wall. On the skating rink part of the track, like many before him. Cyril Abiteboul was not happy. Lewis Hamilton was pitted again in lap 48 to give him a little bit more grip to the end of the race. And then he's off again. Through his immense skill, he managed to keep the car in one piece and continued. Let this be a lesson for everybody in that turn. Well, not for Bottas, who crashed in exactly the same way as Hamilton did, and he didn't have the skill Hamilton had to save his race. Bottas out, Toto Wolff not happy. In lap 57, Max Verstappen was leading again with 14 cars behind him. Sebastian Vettel made his home crowd very happy by passing his future teammate Stroll for a podium place. With all these cars out, this was a great opportunity for Pierre Gasly to score some points. He decided to drive into the back of his replacement Alex Albon instead. Vettel made the home fans scream with joy once again when he very carefully passed the torpedo Daniil Kvyat. He drove a hell of a race from P20 to P2. God, I miss Seb. Max Verstappen won his 7th race and just showed the world he can keep his head together in all these circumstances. The Orange Army was out in full force and they were very happy too. Mind you, this was 2 seasons before he had a championship winning car. Kvyat finished P3 and shared a podium with Max Verstappen, just like he shared a few other things with Max. This concludes the funny race review for this month. If you have a suggestion of a wild race that I should do next, let me know in the comments. I'd honestly appreciate that. I'd also appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. Take care now. Doei doei.